Morning to all. Welcome to Officers Adda 247 YouTube channel. So I hope everyone is good and preparing very well for the upcoming examination of the JIB. So today is a session where we are going to discuss some very important questions that related to your depreciation chapter. And from depreciation chapter you may get 7 to 8 marks in the examination. So this chapter is very important from exam point of view. So let's start this session. Before to start, one update also from our side, that is for upcoming examination of the JIB. There are two batches where you can enroll. That is one is revision batch and second is a MCQs batch where I am your AB faculty and you can get 3000 MCQs questions related to your all subjects PPB, AFB as well as LRAB. And in the revision batch you will just understand all the subjects, all the topics in very fine way. Okay, so with the code that is Y422 you can just avail the maximum discount on these batches on every JAIIB and CAIIB products. Okay, so now let's start the session. Okay, so first question that is related to your trader purchase on the fixed asset for 10,000 rupees in January 2020. Okay, and depreciation is charged 25% diminishing balance method, and at the end of the third year it was sold for the 1,000 rupees. So you have to find out what may be the profit or losses on the sale of the fixed asset. Okay, so the first thing that you always have to understand in the depreciation question, like you always have to just calculate for the total cost of the fixed asset, or to say total cost of the assets, right? So like if in the question that is given total cost of the fixed asset, or say total cost of the machine, and which is given 10,000 rupees. Okay, now, if I say that is depreciation, which is charged 25% at the diminishing balance method. So, we are talking about, if we talk about the diminishing balance method, that is basically, our depreciation rate, which is a constant depreciation, which is given 25%. That means it is constant, but the only difference is it will be charged on the previous year's end value. Okay, so what will be the previous year end value for the second year? That would be the beginning value for the year, and depreciation will be charged on that. Okay, so just understand this: if a trader that purchased 10,000 rupees of fixed asset or say machine, and it is charged for the 25% for the first year. If we are talking about for the first year, that means for the first year the machine value that would be reduced by the 25%, and now it would be the 75% of its value, right? After that, because now the question is about at the end of the third year it was sold for the 1,000 rupees. That means in this question you have to find out first, that is what will be the value of the machine for the third year after depreciation. Okay, so if we're talking about the second year, so the second for the second year, again this 10,000 rupees and 75% of this, and now the 25% again depreciated. That means for the second year the value will be remained again 75% of your of the previous year end value. So this is the previous year end value for the first year. For the third year, the previous year end value, that is 75% multiplied by the 75%, and again the 75%, and that would be the value of your previous year, that would be the value of your machine after the third year, right? So we can also solve by a very simple way in the examination. So like we have to solve, or say we have to just find out the value of the machine after the third year. That means the only thing we have to do, that is 10,000 rupees, that is multiplied by the 75% for the first year, again for the second year, again for the third year, and this, and whatever the value we will get, that would be understand as your the value of the machine after the third year. Okay, so now just calculate and tell me what will be the value here. So when we are just going to solve, so this value would be your 4,218.75 which we can also write as 4,219 rupees, right? Okay, so that would be your value of the machine after third year. After third year, or say after third year, that is after depreciation. Okay, so that would be the value of the machine after third year. Now, if the at end of the third year, the machine was sold for the 1,000 rupees. Okay. So if the machine was sold for the 1,000 rupees, that means your machine value is currently 4,219 rupees, and it is sold for the 1,000 rupees. That means you just getting loss for the selling of this machine, and that loss will be your, that is 3,219 rupees. That would be your loss. Okay, so the correct answer of this question, that is 3,219 rupees. That would be the loss for that machine for selling. Okay, I hope it is now clear for everyone. So whenever you will get the questions, unlike the straight line method and the sum of year digit method, so whenever you will get the questions related to written down method, diminishing balance method, so you always have to understand that the depreciation rate will be charged on the previous year end value. Okay, and whenever the question is about value of the machine after the third year, so it is now very simple for you to solve these kind of the questions in the exam. Okay, I hope it is now clear for everyone. So now just attend the second question, that is related to your sum of years digit method. So in this question, like cost of machine is given, salvage value is given, salvage value or say residual value, right? And the useful life is, it is also given, that is given the 5 years. So you have to find out the depreciation for the fourth year using the sum of year digit method. So as the name itself representing, that is sum of year digit method, that means here we have to just calculate the summation of the all years, which is the useful life, which is given in the question. Okay, so like here in this question, that is useful life is given 5 years. So just started with the 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, and the summation of that all years, that will be equal to your, 15, right? Okay, now the thing to understand, why we are just using the 5 at the initial year. Like if the useful life is given 5 years, so why we use 5 as for the first year? Okay, the reason is, that is company always just use the depreciation, or say just it is just beneficial for the tax purposes also. Okay, so whenever we are talking about the depreciation, that means company just deducting the depreciating amount just higher for the first year, and later this is just a lower. Okay, so it is started with the higher depreciation rate, after that lower, after that lower, after that more lower. Okay, so that is the series of the depreciation charged. So if we are talking about the first year depreciation rate, so this 5 would be considered as your first year depreciation rate. Okay, this 4 will be considered as a second year depreciation rate. This 3, this is representing for the third year depreciation rate. This is representing as a fourth year depreciation rate, and this will be considered as a fifth year depreciation rate, or say last year depreciation rate. Okay, so whenever you have to solve the depreciation amount, so how you can solve that? Just, or one more thing here to understand, that you can also understand, this is like whatever the number of the useful life is remaining, like for the first year, the number of the useful life which is remaining 5, so just write 5 here, and it is divided by the 15, which is a summation of the all years. Okay, digit. So that is 5 by 15 into total cost of the machine minus salvage value, or say residual value. Okay, so this is how you can calculate the depreciation for the first year. But in the question, that you have to find out the depreciation for the fourth year. Okay, so for the fourth year, what it would be, that is 2, that is for the fourth year, that will be 2, and 2 that is divided by the 15, total cost of the machine, which is 1,12,500 minus, and residual value which is given 10,500. So now you only have to solve this question. So just calculate this and tell me what will be the value here, that you have to subtract 10,500 from the 1,12,500. Okay, so that value would be your 1,02,000 rupees, right? Okay, and now it is divided by the 15 and multiplied by the 2, and now it is divided by the 15. The value would be 6,800 rupees. Okay, so that would be your value for the 6,800 rupees, and now it is multiplied by the 2, and now it would be the just 13,600 rupees. Okay, so the value, it is not given in the option, so you have to just include another option, that is 13,600. So this is actually the twist for this question, for just confusing you guys. So the correct answer, that is 13,600 rupees. So that will be your answer for this question. I hope it is clear for everyone. So how we can solve this? So this would be 13,600. I hope it is now clear for everyone. So like 5, 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. So this is for the fourth year, if we are saying that the currently 2 just useful life years is just remaining. So that's why it is using as a 2. And for the fifth year, that will be 1 by 15, and whatever we just calculating. Okay, whatever we just calculated here, that is equal to 6,800. So that would be your fifth year depreciation amount, and that is if we are talking about for the fourth year. So the correct answer, that will be 13,600 rupees. Okay, so I hope it is now clear for everyone. That would be your answer here. Okay, next question, that is a machine is depreciated by 30,000 every year. So which method is being used to calculate depreciation? You know what we the correct answer, that would be your straight line method. And in the straight line method, you have to understand, first thing you have to understand, that is for the all the method, the depreciation rate always be a constant. That means if the machine is depreciated with the 10%, that means the machine will be depreciated 10% per year. Okay, so that would be constant, but depreciated amount would not be constant for the every method. That why it is, because for the written down method, for the diminishing balance method, or say reducing balance method, okay, depreciation rate always apply on the previous year's and value, right? So if we are talking about for the depreciation amount, like a machine is depreciated by the 30,000 every year, that means here depreciated amount is the same. Okay, so depreciated amount is the same for every years, for every useful years. Okay, so that is for every useful years. So the correct answer, that straight line method. So straight line method is actually known as a constant rate of the depreciation, that is constant rate of the depreciation and constant amount of the depreciation. Okay, that is also known as constant amount of the depreciation. So this is the straight line method. So like for the first year, if I say that is 30,000 rupees just depreciated, a machine is depreciated, and it would be the same. Suppose that the machine useful life is a 5 years. So 30,000 for the first year, 30,000 for the second year, 30,000 for the third year, 30,000 for the fourth year. So this is a basic thing to understand here, that the if the machine is depreciated every year with the same value, that means it is related to a straight line method. I hope it is now clear for everyone. Okay. Okay, now understand another question, that is related to your double declining balance method, and this is a very important method from exam point of view as well. Okay, so an asset is purchased for a total price of the 1 lakh rupees, and with expected useful life of the 5 years that is given. So what is the amount of the depreciation at double declining balance method for calculation of the depreciation in the second year? So, if you're talking about the declining balance method, that means in the declining balance method, what we can say, that is some rate of depreciation is given, and whatever the rate of depreciation is given, that is charged on the previous year's end value. Okay. So what is the difference between the declining balance method and the double declining balance method? That is the actually difference between that is the term, that is double. That means now we are just depreciated with a double value. Okay, So suppose that if we are talking about for this particular question, so estimated useful life of the 5 years given, that means R, if we say that is 20%, the depreciation amount, or say 20% would be the depreciation rate would be applied on the asset for every year. Okay. So in the double declining balance method, if the 20% is a depreciation rate is, if the 20% is the depreciation rate is, so for the double declining method we just multiply by the 2, that is 40%. Okay. So all things just same, but the only difference that is we have to multiply by the 2 into the depreciation rate, or say depreciation amount for the years. Okay. So suppose that an asset that is purchased with a 1 lakh rupees. So this is the asset which is purchased for the 1 lakh rupees, and the expected useful life of 5 years. By this we just find out the depreciation rate, and what is the amount of the depreciation in the double declining balance method for calculation of the depreciation in the second year. So for second year we have to calculate. So we know that if the depreciation is charged with a 40%, okay, so I think it is understandable now for everyone, that is for the if it is a question of the declining balance method, so we use only 20%, but it is a question of a double declining balance method, so that means we use, that is 20% multiplied by the 2, that is 40%. Okay. So now if we just apply 40% on this asset value of the 1 lakh, so it is now very obvious to understand for the first year the value would be reduced by the 40%, and for the first year ending value of the machine, that would be 60,000 rupees. Okay. Now we have to just find out what is the amount of the depreciation. You have to just understand the meaning what the question is about in the depreciation questions. Like sometimes the question is what is the amount of the depreciation, and sometimes the question is what is the amount of the value, or say what is the value of the machine. Okay. So you have to understand in the both term, right? And sometimes the question is also what is the depreciation rate. So you do not have to be confused between these terms, right? So now your machine value, that would be 60,000 for the first year. I hope it is now understandable for everyone, because for the first year if we just purchase the asset for the 1 lakh rupees and it is 40% reduced, that means our machine value just reduced to the 60,000 rupees. Okay, so that would be 60,000 rupees. And for the second year, that would be our beginning value, that would be our starting value, that is 60,000 rupees. Okay, so now again 40% that would be depreciated in this, and the depreciation amount, what it will be, that is 24,000 rupees. So that would be your depreciated value, that would be your depreciated amount. Okay. And if we are talking about what is the value of the machine for the second year, so what will be the value of the machine for the second year? You only have to subtract this 24,000 from the 60,000 rupees, and the value that would be 36,000 rupees. That would be your machine value. Okay. So in this question the right answer, that will be 24,000. That is your amount of the depreciation. Okay. One thing I also also like to just confirm here, that is the thing. Suppose that this is a question like you have to find out value of the machine after 2 years. Okay, after 2 years. So what is the value of the machine after 2 years? So the simply what we have to do, like I explained in the previous questions, like the value of the machine which is 1 lakh, and now the because this is a question of a double declining balance method, so you just use the depreciation rate as a 40%, because the actual depreciation rate is a 20%, but we are just talking about the double declining balance method, so it would be a 40%. So just simply value of the machine, if we have to calculate for the 2 years, that means the only multiplied by the 0.6 as well as a 0.6, which is nothing but a 60%. Okay, it is a 60%, but we can also write the 60% as a 0.6, and now we can just solve this and we will get the value of the 36,000 directly. So that will be your just understand as a value of the machine after 2 years if we have to calculate. But in this question we only have to calculate the amount of the depreciation, so simply 1 lakh rupees and zero point 0.6 which is equal to 60,000, and that 60,000 rupees again the depreciation rate, your what is the rate, that is 40%. Okay, so that would be your 24,000 rupees. This should be depreciated value. I hope it is now clear for everyone. The next question, that is the, in this question you have to understand, like this is a very good question if you're talking about for the straight line method. So this is another method for calculating a depreciation. Here is scrap value which is given and original cost is given. Okay, and the scrap value which is given 20,000 rupees, and the original cost value that is given 70,000 rupees, and its useful life is 5 years. So the depreciated value at the end of the fourth year we have to calculate. So this is a question of the straight line method if nothing any method is mentioned in the question. So just use the straight line method. Okay, and now what we have to do, because the depreciated amount, how we can calculate, that is total cost of the machine. So total cost of the machine which is given 70,000 rupees in the question, and scrap value which is given 20,000, so just write here 20,000, and it will be divided by the 5, right? So just calculate and tell me what will be the value. That will be 10,000 rupees, that would be our value, right? So that is known as your depreciated amount, and we know that in the straight line method depreciated amount would be same for every year. Okay, so if we have to just calculate the depreciated value at the end of the fourth year, so what how we can just solve this, how we can solve this? Look, we know that 10,000 would be depreciated for the first year, as well as for the second year, as well as for the third year, and as well as for the fourth year as well. That means we just multiply by the 4, and that would be total depreciated value for our asset. Okay, whatever the asset we purchased. Okay, so now if we have to find out the depreciated value at the end of the fourth year, so what will be the value? It is the depreciated value, that will be your 70,000 minus 40,000 and 30,000. That would be your depreciated value of the machine. Okay, that would be depreciated value of the machine. So either say the depreciated value of the machine, just right here in this. So the depreciated value of the machine, that would be your 30,000 rupees. Okay, so this is how we solve questions in the exam. Okay, so this is how we can solve. I hope it is now clear. So if this is a question about the depreciated value of the machine at the end of the fourth year, so the correct answer, that is 30,000 rupees. Okay, I hope it is understandable. The next question, that is again for the sum of year digit method. So I hope everyone will just solve this question. So, if the question is sum of your digit method, you only have to just understand what is a useful life is given in the question. So in this question, that is 3 years, expected life is given. So what we have to do, we only have to just calculate the sum of your digit, like 3 plus 2 plus 1, and that will be equal to 6, and this will be considered as a first year depreciation, this will be considered as a second year depreciation, and this will be considered as a third year depreciation. So for the second year depreciation, that will be 2 by 6 into, now the total cost of the machine which is given 54,000 rupees, that just right here, and minus residual value which is 6,000 given. Okay, so now you have to just find out the amount of the depreciation. So we know that that is 48,000 rupees, that is, and multiplied by the 2 divided by the 6, and now the value, that would be 16,000 rupees. Okay, so this is how we solve, because we have to calculate the second year depreciation rate. So what will be our value? Just tell me what will be the R value. That is 3 plus 2 plus 1, and we have to just find out for the second year. So for the second year, how we can solve this? That is 48,000 multiplied by the 2 by 6 and 16,000. That would be our answer. Okay, so in this question, we in this lecture we discuss the multiple questions that related to a depreciation chapter, and I hope this lecture is useful for everyone. So that's all for this session. I hope this lecture is very useful for you. And if you're liking our effort, please do not forget to hit the like button on this video. And if you're not downloaded the Adda 247 application, just download this and subscribe the Officers Adda 247 YouTube channel. so that you can get the notifications of the live lectures as well as the notifications of the important news that is related to your examination. Okay, so now thanks for watching me here. Thanks for joining me here. Like this video if you're liking our effort, and share this video to your friends so that maximum number of the colleagues are join us. Okay, so thanks for watching me.